And now it's time for Ask Rich and Ed, our bite-sized chunk of a podcast.
Ooh, nice. Bite-sized chunks. Like dog food.
We get a lot of listener questions, which we love to answer with insightful views and advice.
Ooh.
Let's see what questions we've got this time, Ed.
Well, Rich, will they be fatuous, insightful, or inane? Let's make it real.
Boom. So this one is from Hugo Sanchez. How do I get the best deal for my foreign holiday on flights and accommodation, Ed?
Don't go on a package holiday.
You see, my first answer to this is go on a package holiday.
The way to get cheaper holiday deals is really all around timing. The further ahead you buy flights, generally speaking, the cheaper they are, but you do get a blip just before the flights go, if they've got capacity. And it's the same with hotels. So I think there's a bit of a long game with booking holidays.
Also look about a month out from your flight, because there's a sort of a sweet spot, isn't there, about a month out where sometimes they reduce.
Air fares are dynamically priced, which mean they can move minute by minute. So continually scan the market and look at what the prices are doing. There's also some apps out there. And
Skyscanner is one, isn't it?
there's one that measures prices and tells you whether the price is at its lowest point.
Right.
And it's the same with hotels. The other thing with hotels is sometimes if you join the frequent stay plan thing with them, you get discounts for being a member.
Descuentos.
If you're flying long haul, if you're prepared to be flexible, so let's say you were flying to Sydney, Australia, from, let's say, Paris, the way to get the cheap flight is by breaking the journey. So flying from Paris, say, to Istanbul, to Doha, and then on to Singapore, and then to Australia. That will make the price cheaper. You're not having that easy, 21-hour journey, but making it over a few days will make the price of the flights a lot cheaper. And then the other one is just being flexible. If you can be flexible about when you go on holiday, going back to your package holiday, Rich, if you can say, I can go within that window, you'll get the distressed stop. And would you believe distressed package holidays generally are the better hotels and better accommodation?
Who knew?
Yeah, because people who are booking their holidays, the ones that they generally book first will be the cheaper.
Alternatively, just book online through a travel agent for ease.
Pay them their margin.
Pay them their margin. And one thing that it does give you, though, it does give you an APTA guarantee.
Yeah.
And if it all goes horribly wrong, at least you'll get your money back. Whereas if you book everything individually, you, as you say, if you want more flexibility, you'll probably get better pricing and you can get insurance.
The other one is only book it on your credit card, because if you book it on your credit card, you get the money back.
Yes, get refunds, don't you? And remember, if you're going to fly via, as Ed's suggestion, breaking up the flight, remember not to use Syria as your drop-off point.
Or North Korea, or Iran. Yeah.
Yes, so avoid those places.
Yes.
That would be good. Okay.
Yes. Got one for you, Rich.
Yes.
This is from Christy Allstrop. I'm in the middle of a stressful house buying process. Do Rich and Ed have any tips from the world of procurement that might help?
Well, the thing to have at the back of your mind at all times when buying a house is that people buying houses are typically slightly mad. This is a case of most people in the world are slightly mad. And unfortunately, most people in the world are not trained in negotiation and therefore can be very hard to negotiate with because they don't really understand what the rules are. And they just think, I'll go in hard on everything. And they don't understand that a credible position is important. And they don't understand about leaving the door open for movement. And they don't understand that they may not have the strongest negotiating position. So try to understand the other side's position. Are they keen to move fast? Are they keen to move slow? Are their finances extremely tight or not? What are they looking for? What's missing from your house? Did they want a garage? Did they want off-street parking? Did they want a garden? Did they want 3 bedrooms? Are they looking for a doer-upper, or are they less interested in certain things? Get us a really good view of what it is that they're after, because they might actually not really be that interested in your house. It's number 15 on a list that they've got. And even though you're not likely ever to have any kind of buyer-seller relationship ever again, I think it's important to play nicely rather than to be difficult. I mean, normally when you have a buyer-seller relationship where you're never going to meet again, it doesn't really matter how you treat each other because you're not going to ever do the deal again. But I think in house pricing, it kind of becomes personal, doesn't it? So play nicely and also be prepared for a very slow process, particularly in the UK. Online conveyancing has speeded things up quite a lot and it gives a great visibility of what's going on, but it is a slow process, isn't it? And it can be quite frustrating.
And it's different. It's very different in different markets, isn't it? Because in Scotland, in the United Kingdom, it's a sealed bid process, isn't
Yeah.
it? And it's legally binding once you bid. If you give the highest bid, you have to buy the house. So it's different by territory. But yeah, I agree. I think be nice
Yeah, be nice.
and seek to get things thrown in for free. I think
Don't be shouty as well.
never be shouty.
And one thing we were talking crazy people, we were selling a house years and years ago, and that was our first house. The buyer wanted us to go faster and faster, and we said, well, we can only go as fast as we can go. And the buyer then backed out
Oh.
3 weeks before completion, citing that the process was too slow, which was completely irrational. So I sort of phoned them and said, that's the most irrational thing ever. Like, you've now pulled out because we're too slow, but we were like 3 weeks away from completing. By doing that, you've set yourself back months again. So we persuaded them that they would come back into the process again. But again, it was like, if they'd thought about that as a negotiation tactic, think about how credibly you can get back into the game without just really looking a bit daft.
In these processes of buying stuff personally, house, cars, whatever, is that people don't always act rationally because they're not used to negotiation or that situation. So, having a rational, normal conversation.
Be logical, be rational, and don't be shouty. Okay, next question is from Harrison Christie, and it says, I am in the middle of a stressful car buying process. I have a car to part exchange, but wonder if Rich and Ed have any suggestions from the world of procurement that might help. A suspiciously similarly worded question.
Similarly, yes, but different.
Indeed.
Harrison didn't mention whether it was a new car or a second-hand car.
No.
Car buying is about timing and month end and quarter end.
Yes, if you're buying any car, yeah.
Not if you're buying it privately, because then you just haggle. But if it's part exchange, one assumes that you're going to a garage or a car sales place of some form. The whole play with buying a car is about the incentive to the dealer around how many vehicles they've got to sell and what sort of kickbacks they're getting from the manufacturer.
Yes.
Or if they're selling a second-hand car, they don't have a kickback from the manufacturer, but they have other things to think about, like maybe they're going to sell it to you on a lease deal in some form or lend you some money to help you purchase the vehicle. So you have to think that they're driven by quarter ends and month ends and hitting targets to get performance bonuses, whether that's for the salesperson themselves or whether the dealership itself. So you need to play the time card and try and understand from the supplier how business is. So good starting point if you're buying and selling your car, part exchanging your car, is when you go into the dealer, find out what sort of deal they'll offer you, leave them hanging on, find out how sales are going, have a general chat with them. We said earlier about being nice to people, is have a sort of very generalized conversation about, what's the market like at the moment, how the car's selling, what's popular, break down the barrier and try and get a bit of an insight into how things are going for them. Because if you go in on the last day of a quarter, the dealer is possibly thinking about hitting a target number of cars sold, and will make you a very, very good offer if they need, a few more vehicles to be sold at the end of that quarter to hit their performance targets. So timing is everything for me, and understanding the market. And the other thing I'd say, if you're going to go out, let's say you're going to go and buy a Ford, what Ford dealers hate is not the thought of you losing your sale to, I don't know, General Motors or somebody. They're worried about losing a sale to Ford. So what you can do is play Ford dealerships off against each other if they're close enough together. So there's a few plays. I don't know if you want to add to that, Rich.
Let me just go and talk to my manager about that. This bloke wants to buy Focus. He's talking to the people down the road. What do you think? Yeah, I think we should do it. I think we should do that. Yeah, we should do that. All right. Yeah. Hello, Mr. Cross. Yes, we can do that deal. Would you like to sign here?
What else would you throw in?
Nothing. Hang on. I'll go check with my manager. It depends, doesn't it, all this again? It depends if you're a petrol head or someone who's really interested in cars, or if brands are really important to you as well, or, as you said, how important is new versus used, or if you're a crazy person who wants to buy a new EV. Clue, they lose a lot of value in the first 1 to 2 years. Government subsidies are going, gone. Vehicle tax is going to get you, which is why the EV market is in turmoil.
That's a good time to lease an EV.
Yeah, leasing EVs is good. Buying EVs bad.
Do your research. And as you say, Rich, I think if you're prepared to take any family-sized saloon and you're not wedded to a brand, shop around.
Shop around. And beware online sales sometimes, because you can't see the car before it arrives on your driveway. I've done this a couple of times, and then the car arrives and there's something wrong with it, and you go, ugh. And the dealer says, "Oh, sorry," and then you have to faff about getting it put right. And they would have put that right before they even sold it if they'd been a bit smarter. Similar to house buying, leave the door open. Don't say this is my final offer and then proceed to make another offer. You lose credibility. And the other thing is, as you say, don't be shouty. Don't be aggressive. If you're in the Ford dealer and you're being aggressive with them, he doesn't really give a toss.
No, you've seen it all before. And a lot of people are aggressive because they don't know how to negotiate. So the way that they turn is to become shouty and awkward and difficult. So don't be. Be in control. Shouty is like losing control. Calm and relaxed, you maintain control. You maintain your logical brain.
And our next question is actually from Calm and Relaxed. But we'll do that next time. And on that bombshell, see you next time. Bye.
Bye.